And just few days back, I think about a week back, he was his birthday, and they are called like Shankaracharya. They are called Krives. So now the Lithuanians are celebrating on his birthday the Krives Day. Well, you can say in the modern time, he is more like Jonas was more like a Shankaracharya for Hindus. So he had a lot of influence in Europe, and he raised the organization for all the European groups who are fighting for their ancient civilization and culture. The revival of ancient civilization and culture. He raised an organization, and that organization is really very, very strong today. I think so many people, so many groups in Europe have joined. So he was asked to, change his religion, change his attitude toward the government, but he did not do that. He says, no, no, ours is a very strong Vedic culture and we will stick to that. But he had to leave his job. Rather, I can say that he was thrown off his job. So I said, what did you do for your survival? So he says, I went from one village to the other village. And for 15 years for my living, I was literally working as a laborer, breaking stones, making houses for people, and at the same time uniting the villages and collecting their folk songs. And and for many years, I moved from one village to the other, and then he collected. Can you imagine? Almost, how do you call it? I won't say 100,000 songs, 100,000 local songs. What we call in India, we used to have during our independence struggle. We used to have Prabhat Feri, the people, the whole city or the village will gather. They will sing religious songs, motivational songs. So they also did the same thing. And they motivated people and followed the Gandhian path. They followed the Gandhian path, and they did not fire even a bullet. Not a single bullet was fired by them. And so they moved from one village to the other, collected this song, and this movement became so strong that the communists had to give up and tell and give them independence. So it was a very big shock to me that how can such a small country fight against such a big country which is so strong even today. So that is how. So he says on our last day, and this song festival, sometime in July, they have this festival, and this festival is called Song Festival. So he says this song festival was like you have, we have Vijay Chowk in Delhi. Similar thing is there in Lithuania, and there is a very big church there. And right there is a very big square where they all gathered, and they were singing songs for the independence. They made a very long change, the whole country, the entire country, the lengthwise. They made a chain protesting for independence. And then finally, he also carried a flag of swastika. So I said, but swastika is that your religious symbol? He said, yes, it is very much our religious symbol. And the people objected, the government objected and asked me, why are you carrying this flag swastika? He said, I don't know what is this swastika, but all that I know is I got this flag from the grave of our ancestors. So it is sacred to us. So that's how they got the independence. And now in July, every year, they have a song festival. The places are changed, sometimes in Estonia, sometimes in Lithuania, sometimes in Latvia, and they celebrate this festival all over the world. And they are so enthusiastic that the government doesn't give them any kind of a dress, but they themselves get these dress stitched. They get the dress stitched themselves, and it is so colorful. I wish I had known that the our guest speaker is not here. I would have shown you a CD on it. It's so impressive. Every Lithuanian is so enthusiastic to wear this dress and sing their songs. A wonderful song. I think one of the best performances that I have seen anywhere in the world. People all over, they celebrate not only in Lithuania, maybe in America, maybe in Canada. Now, when we went deeper into the similarities, I'm sure those similarities are found with many, many groups of Europe. Maybe the Romans, maybe the Hellenes, maybe the Slavics, maybe the Celts, because I'm doing study on all of them, and I find there's a lot of common factors going on. Like the Romans may call it Zeus, they call Perkonosh. The Baltic people may call it Love, and we call it Indra. So they're all same. It is a thunder god, and they all worship oak tree. And we have done a research on oak tree, and we found that in ancient time, the oak tree was the sacred tree of Lord Indra too. But why it was banned in India, I have written in my book. It's the first book. Why it was banned, maybe I'm not sure, but that's my prediction. That's my calculation. So the oak tree is a very sacred tree in Europe, and it is a very sacred. It was a very sacred tree in India. It was found in Hindu Kush. It was found even in Himalayas even today, and it is a pure Sanskrit word, oak, and we pronounce it as ag. And ag means, if you go through the dictionary, means mool bhoot vraksh. That means the original tree. Original tree is ag, and it's a pure Sanskrit word. And from ag, you will have so many words coming out of ag. Like you say, agar, agaru, agar tagar. Like when we do worshipping, fire worshipping, we say agar tagar, kind of a wood and herbal wood that we are using. The Lithuanians use the herbals for the marriages, for the sacred performance. So they are also using the same oak tree, and their system of governance. They also, like in India, we have five people, the important people. We used to call him, the five people gathering, sitting under a tree and taking decision. And so the panchayat, we call panchayat. So they had this, even today they have this system. It's like the Celtic people, the Druids, they used to sit under a tree and take decision for the society. So the same system continues in India even today. And it is still there in the Celtic countries like Britain, like Ireland, like France, like Brittany. This system is continuing even today. The oak is equally sacred in those countries. So they also have the oak tree, a sacred tree. But of course, some they were many they had to literally protect this tree, because some other groups wanted to destroy these trees, but they literally struggled and somehow saved the oak tree. Now, when I went to Lithuania, and when I went there, we saw the marriage taking place. I was surprised. I was surprised. And I had written to the Indian ambassador who was at Warsaw, Mr. Ajay Bisaria, who is presently the ambassador in Canada, Indian ambassador to Canada. So I requested him to come and see that this country is purely a Vedic country, and he won't believe us. So he sent the consular. Then was Mr. Rajendra Chaudhary was the consular, and the present the elder of Romuva, Inya Trinkuna, she was performing a marriage, and they were shocked. He said, "I've been living in Lithuania for so many years, but I have never seen such kind of marriage." So they were shocked that so much is similar. Now they equally respect the elders, like we have, like the Hindus have respecting ancestors. And recently we had the Shraddhs. So they also have Shraddh. So they like, of course, the name has been changed, but I have discovered that this word is also of Sanskrit, and they call Hellene. The no the so those sorry, I'm not getting the right word. So they celebrate this for the ancestor. They have a day on, I think, 31st of November or 30th of November. They have this Halloween. Sorry, it is called Halloween. So Halloween is celebrated, and that is like our Shraddh. In ancient time, the Celtics also celebrate for a long period, maybe 15 days or a month. And this was confirmed by one of the senior druids, and he mentioned in his book, and he mentioned that yes, it was like a season for us, like what Hindus have. We have this Shraddh for 15 days, so they also celebrate Shraddh for 15 days, ancient time. But somehow they were forced to celebrate for only for one day, and now they are sticking to 30th of November because dates were all fixed. Now, apart from that, the Lithuanians had the tradition of keeping one plate for their ancestors every day. When the table is laid, one plate was left vacant for the ancestors. It's not strange if we do it in India too. For every important occasion, we offer the food to our ancestors first. It is a practice. It is a common practice in India. Whether it is a marriage or any kind of celebration, first the plate is offered to the ancestors and the gods. And in Lithuania, they not only do that, they put a plate especially for the ancestors almost every day. But slowly, the traditions are slowly vanishing. But there are many traditional people now who maintain this. Now we found so many other things which are very, very common. Now, surprisingly, those names of gods and goddesses which we find in Lithuania, the same names are in India too. Like for example, they call sun god Shaule. Now in Tripura, people call sun god Saule. And we ask them, why do you call Saule? It's a very rare thing in India. Like I'm in India, but I don't call sun Saule. But why people of Tripura call Saule? It's a pure Sanskrit word. The Saule means anything which is shining is Shaule. And we found that in Tripura, they call goddess Lakshmi, they call Laime, and Lithuanians also call goddess Lakshmi Laime. It's the same name, there's no difference at all. They worship goddess Kalima, and they call Kalima Laume, and they also in Lithuania call Laume, Tripura people call Laume. Why so much of similarity between India and in between Lithuania and Tripura? I'm shocked to know myself. Now, another very interesting tradition that I have found is, which is very prevalent even in India, in my state too. Whenever a person dies in earlier time, even today, especially the royal family, they will have people who are hired to lament. They will weep for them. They will cry for the person who has gone, and we call them Rono. Rona means to cry, to weep, to lament. And do you know that this tradition is there in Lithuania too? And they also call Rona. There is no difference in the word. It is the same word, Rona. We also call Rona. And there was a movie, a Hindi movie named Rudali. If you have seen that movie, Rudali, where there are ladies who go and lament for the person who have died. They are hired. So this tradition is still carrying on in my state in Rajasthan. They go and lament, they weep for the person, especially. So I went to the royal family of my city, Jaipur, and I asked them, do you have this tradition even today? He said, yes, we have these people. The family has been given as a big house to live because they lament for our royal family. And they titled them Rona Rao. I saw that big house where they live, and I was surprised that this tradition goes on in Jaipur even today for the royal family. And there is no difference between the name and what they do for them. So they also have Lithuanians also called Romno. Now there are so many common words that we find with Lithuanians and India. Like, for example, let's take the example of a bee. We all know what bee does. You know, bee gives you honey. And if people say that if there is no honey, there will be no life on earth, because they are the protectors. I know that. I know Honorable Imre is with me and he will agree, because he advocates and I support him fully about the cradle system. And bee plays a very, very important role for the cradle system. You know, so now bee means how Lithuanians worship bee, and the bee is called Astha. Now it's a pure Sanskrit word. Astha, we know, means trust. So they named bee the trust. So why do you trust? And when the bee migrates, the beehive, the whole colony, when they migrate from one place to the other, they go to the next place close to a family house who are very good in nature and pious people. They will not migrate to any family who do not have good nature, who are not good to the society. There are bad vibrations are coming. So that is the belief of Lithuanians, that the bees will migrate to a family, close to a family where there's a tree, where they can get shelter, where then they can make the new beehive. And there, so they call trust. That means they even used to organize marriages with those families, because they knew that wherever there is a beehive, they can trust that family. Now, Astha means trust in Sanskrit. So this is, bee is named as Astha. So that's so much interesting that you find every day witnessing. Now I will give you another example. They have a instrument which is a very, very sacred instrument, which is called kankhal. I think I mentioned about kankhal couple of I think some lectures that I gave earlier about kankhal. It's a beautiful instrument. It is their national instrument. Now this national instrument kankhal, when they visited Haridwar, and they told me that the name of this kankhal instrument is similar to the place next to Haridwar, which is the place of Sati, wife of Shiva. You know, this is where he died. He jumped into fire. And so Kankhal means Haridwar. Why Haridwar? Why Haridwar is called Haridwar? Because it is Haridwar, means place where you can go to heaven. Basically, this was constructed during ancient time. This place was there when Lord Shiva visited Kankhal, when Shiva visited his father-in-law's place, and so he was welcomed. So this is called Haridwar. And so it's a sacred place for Hindus too. And what do we do that? After the death, once you cremate, the ashes, we call flowers, we call pushpa. So the pushpa are taken to Haridwar, and the ceremonies are performed, and we take a holy dip bath on Ganges River, and we presume that the soul of our of our death, people who die, the soul travels along with the Ganges, the river, and they go up to the heaven. Now, can you believe the same concept is with the Lithuanian kankhal instrument? They have the same belief. Whenever a person dies, this instrument is played right next to the dead body, and they have the same feeling. They feel that when they play this instrument, they presume that those waves which are created is like a river, wave of a river, like we have the wave of the river Ganges. So similar waves are created, and the soul travels through that imaginary river and goes up into Daksha Prajapati, the place of Daksha. So they call Daksha. There is no difference at all. It's a place of Daksha. They rise above, and they say it is other world, and it's not heaven. It's not heaven. It's a stage to heaven. And so the souls go there, and they are received by two people. They call Vayupati. That means the wind god. They received by the wind god, and they call Vayupati. There's no difference. Hindus also call him Vayupati. So they go the Vayupati. The good souls are allowed to go in, and there are apsaras. You know the apsaras. They welcome them, and they also call apsaras apsara only. There is no difference in the words. It's the same thing. So the apsaras welcome them into that Daksha Prajapati place, and the bad souls are blown away by the Vayupati or the wind god. They do not allow them to enter in those heavenly like place. So how deep are the connection between the Baltic countries and India is unimaginable. I mean, I can talk for many hours. We have done so much of study on this that unimaginable. Now, when they were struggling, the Lithuanians, they struggled for many years. It was a very big kingdom, along with the Poland and along with the Lithuanians together. They had their vast state which stretched from Baltic Sea to Black Sea. So it was one of the greatest kingdoms they ever owned, and they were very strong. But then they had to struggle because the church reached two organizations, and those organizations they were positioned in Prussia. Prussia is a cultural zone, and don't mistake it for Persia. Persia is different. This is Prussia. Now the Prussia had all these countries: Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and even part of which is in Russia now. So that was Prussia, but there is no country called Prussia now. That is all gone. It's all gone. Now they divided into few countries, and part of Poland also, maybe some Belarusia. So those countries were called Prussia. So the church started an organization which was like a Red Cross, basically trying to show like a NGO to help pilgrimages, people who are going for pilgrimage, to support them, to help anybody ill, to treat them. And but the aim was different. They turned them into army. So there were two armies of the church. One was called the Livonian army, which was in Latvia, and another one was the Teutonic army, which was basically working from Germany and Poland, and they were kind of forcing those people to get converted, and they did so. But Lithuania struggled. They struggled for many years, and they struggled for 300 years to survive. Can you imagine? They fought with these forces for 300 years. And I visited that place where, when they came to India, they visited Chittor, where they said that 16,000, the queen and the followers, the dasis, they jumped into fire. So they said that we also had the same situation in Lithuania. We fought for 300 years, and our people, when they knew that they cannot defend anymore, they all immortal themselves. They jumped into fire, and they sacrificed for the country. I visited that place. It's a very sacred place. Now, so many similarities. I was surprised. How can there be so many similarities that they and Hindus have so much common? Now, such similarities we are finding with all these groups, whether it is Celts or Slavics, or whether it is Romans or Hellenes or Hungary. That means they were all nature worshippers. They were very close to the nature, and there was a common factor. That's why they look all similar. They may be in a different country, but now it is time that they all come together and live together. Now, even if you see their sacred symbol, like swastika is their sacred symbol. I have pictures of so many swastikas which are in different form, different motives, and they are being worshipped. The swastika is a symbol of so many symbols of different kind of groups. And I went to their ancient capital, where in the museum I saw swastika symbols, but it is banned now in Europe because there was a lot of bad publicity done for the swastika. There was an anti-swastika campaign. Apart from that, the Kalki god, the future god, Hindus call him Kalki. And I have Honorable Imre is also listening to me. And when we went to Hungary, they said yes, they also have Kalki god. And the Kalki god is the future god who's going to come in future. And the Druids, or you can say the Celts, they call him all white one, as a god who will come with the white clothes on a white horse with a sword to save this our civilizations. So this future god concept is in whole of Europe, and with some different names, but he's the same god. When Honorable Imre visited Jaipur, I showed him a very beautiful temple where there is a white horse made of marble. And he said, yes, we call this god Chaba. And the Lithuanians call that god Vitish. And it is there on their flag. I saw it when I saw the president house of Lithuanian president house. That symbol is also put on their house, also on their coins. So how come there are so many similarities with a country which is almost 4,000 kilometers away from India? It's the most surprising thing I've ever come to know. And there is no difference. Every word is coming out to be in Sanskrit. They have a beautiful, they are almost similar. They have published a dictionary which is in Sanskrit. And they're comparing these names in Sanskrit and Lithuanian. They are coming out absolutely similar one. So that's a great link that we find between Lithuania and India and Baltic countries. Now, today's lecture was very, very interesting. I'm very sorry to know that our guest speaker could not join. I've taken a lot of your time, but I will tell you what he wanted to tell us. I wonder if you can see me. If you can see me, that's the book he presented to me when I visited Lithuania. This is the book written by him. And this is on a octahedral shape, and he's comparing this symbol something like this. I hope you can see this symbols, and I find this it is hanged from ceiling, and they say it is very, very auspicious. And how it is auspicious, and he is comparing it with Sri Yantra. Now the Sri Yantra is a sacred, tantra. People who know about tantra, so that's a very sacred symbol, a very sacred motif of Hindus, and people, use it for various ceremonies, and they worship, and so that is a very sacred symbol. So he perhaps wanted to compare this, and I showed you his book, which he presented to me when I visited Velenos. That is the book written by him, named Sodorida, right? Sodorida is the book. So I think I have spoken a lot enough about Lithuania and Baltic countries. And we also have a very important guest, which he is going to join us very soon. I think he has gone from Brussels. We will have a lecture from him also. And if you have any questions to ask me on Lithuania, you can please let me know so that I can answer your questions. Thank you very much. Oh, we have a guest from Netherlands, Van Erwin. We have a guest from Netherlands, from Brussels. They are Flemings, and I must thank him, Erwin, that he joined today, and the wonderful time I had with you in Brussels, with the group of yours. And very interesting thing which Imre would like to know. You know, they have a goddess called Mary. It's like Mother Mary. No, the Mother Mary has been named after Mary. It's their goddess. They have every corner, important corner. They have a small little temple which is of Mary. And when you visit Brussels, there's a river. They found the statue of Mary in the river, and it has now been taken to a church. So we will listen to Erwin. We have scheduled this talk. Listen how their goddess Mary has been taken away by the church. We welcome him today.
Hi, I wasn't expecting that I had to speak today. So, but okay, we had a fine time in Mechelen when you visit us. And what I want to say about the goddess is, it was a very old pagan or heathen goddess in the European, of course, a goddess of love. But when the Christians came, they destroyed the statue and threw it in the water, because she was the goddess of water too, of the river, the Dale. And they replaced her with Mother Mary, a Christian statue that's still venerated in Mechelen. And it looks very similar with the heathen goddess, because she's standing on crest of the moon, and after the statue there is a sun rays, because she's called the Lady of the Sun. There. So we visited. You remember it, I think.
Of course, I remember very much. And I had requested you to send me those photographs of the church. And
Yes.
also I saw the river where that statue was found, and you took
The
me to the
legend.
Yes.
The legend said that she once came out of the river, the old goddess, and she wanted to stay there in the town in Mechelen in the year 800 or so, and then they built a little sacred place for her. So it's very Indo-European, I think.
Yeah. Now, Erwin, we have Honorable Imre from Hungary, and they have a similar goddess called Baba, and they have the same Baba has been turned into a Mary goddess. So
Yes.
maybe Imre would like to ask a question on it. Okay, I think so. We are going to have a full session with Erwin next month. Full session from him.
Yeah,
So
27th of November.
Okay, 27th of November, and we will listen to Flemings about them and their group. That will be wonderful. But I'm very happy that he joined us today and listening to us, and whatever I wanted to clarify, he has confirmed that what I was saying is correct. So that is the state today. And unfortunately, our guest speaker could not join. You know, even my state, my hometown, we did not have internet till 6 o'clock in the evening. Till 6 o'clock, there was no internet. So till 6 o'clock, we had no internet. So that's unfortunate. Sometimes maybe it is there in Lithuania, they could not contact, they could not join. I left a message again, but maybe we'll have this lecture once again next time. And anybody has any question on Lithuania? Sorry,
Hello.
I had to speak offhand on Lithuania.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You put your mic on. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Imre.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. Just let me say one note. One note here. I think that you Flemish came from Transylvania, or we Transylvania say Hungarian came from your country, because we have the exact same goddess. We call her Baba, Boldogason, and we have a statue which is venerated, where 1.5 million people, Baba. Now, Baba, son, there is a son behind.
Imre, there is some problem with your internet. Imre is actually calling from Thailand, and they have generally have this internet problem. So maybe he will join us soon. I think we lost him. So I think anybody has any questions, you can ask me. You can also, we will have Erwin next month with us. And any question you want to ask. Sorry, our guest speaker could not join today. There are a lot of maybe some problem in Lithuania internet. So any questions you have to ask. Okay, so Erwin, thank you very much. And we also thank all other Imre, I think there is some problem with your internet. Can you type the question? Can you type the question, please? No, you please unmute. You are muted. Imre, you are muted. Please unmute. Imre, please unmute. You are muted.
Not reading our voice.
I think they have internet problem in Thailand also. So I think, can we close now? Anybody has a question? Anyone having any questions? I think we have to close because there's some problem with Embrace internet from Thailand. So we thank Erwin Manyat Shankar Tatwawadi ji for joining us today, and Elena Petre, who joined from Greece, and Ranjan Singh ji, who has joined from South Africa, and so all our friends who have joined us today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice. Well, I don't know. It's evening almost in India.
Yes, it's almost 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Almost 8 o'clock. Okay.
Here in Belgium, Flanders, is it 4 o'clock almost?
Okay. So
almost dinner time.
All right. Okay. So India, we have late dinner. In Europe, people take early dinner. So it's almost the same time. So thank you very much, Elena Petreji, and also Erwin
Oh,
and Ranjan Singh and
okay,
everybody who's
sir, I am back. Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Now.
Yeah, please go ahead, Imre, if you can.
No.
Yeah, I hope you can hear him, Erwin. Actually, Erwin, in Hungary, they have a Baba goddess, which is almost similar to the Mary goddess of
We have the exact same goddess.
yeah. So he would like to ask some questions. I attended that function in Hungary too. That was basically in Romania, and I attended that function. Many people gathered there, and that's a Baba goddess. Baba is like mother goddess. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alina Petreji. We request another lecture from you very soon. Please, we'll talk about it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.